Go ahead and share your screen, and I will start the timer as soon as you start talking. And judges, go ahead and you can start putting in questions at any point.
First, welcome everybody out there in Facebook land and on the internet. And if you're watching this recording later, this is the, I believe, something like the 15th iteration of the business model road test at Miami University Entrepreneurship, the Altman Institute for Entrepreneurship. We are here for the final round of this pitch competition. And we have 5 amazing teams that will be pitching to us tonight and a great panel of judges. Thank you to Sean Kwiat, Roger Babick, Brian Bergman, Katie Kramer, Tom Bishop, Hunter Saturn, and Rylan Peters and Michael McGuire for being here tonight. We will be having the teams pitch for 7 minutes, and then we'll have Q&A, which Dr. Chris Sutter and I will moderate. And we welcome you here to join us. And we will be starting with a team called Simply Silent. So on behalf of Professor Chris Sutter and myself, Michael Conger, welcome, and we'll get started.
All right. Hello, everyone. We are Simply Silent, and today we're here to talk to you about the most efficient and quiet way to wake up only you in the morning. So picture this. Katie and I are going to be rooming together next semester, and I think it's safe to say she won't want to wake up at 6:30 in the morning for my 8 a.m. classes.
So that's 100% correct. I would hate to wake up at 6:30 in the morning, especially since my classes don't even start till 11 a.m. You know what? I like Avery and I love being friends with her, but if her alarm goes off every morning, wakes me up, then ruins my schedule, I'll move out and never see her again.
So we found out that Katie is not alone. In fact, our research showed that 73% of college students actually wake up in the morning from an alarm that's not theirs. This causes students to be less effective throughout the day and disrupts their entire morning cycle through the entire week.
Our solution is Simply Silent, an affordable watch that is small and chic. This watch is only going to wake you up in the morning with a small vibration at the time that you set to wake up. This way, you do not have to worry about waking up your roommate every morning. We're going to keep the watch pretty simple, so our price per watch is going to be $19.99.
So the customer was initially college students like us, people who want to maintain a consistent schedule. But through some research and interviews, we found that parents of college students would also buy this product. Parents like Professor Sedlak, who personally said that she would purchase this product for her own college student.
Through our research, we were able to determine that our total market is between 200,000 and 500,000 college students across the U.S. We were able to narrow our numbers down by using a detailed marketing ad through Facebook, and we understand that by being a new company, we won't be selling a large amount of watches from the very start.
So right now, our biggest competitors are smartwatches, phones, and alarm clocks. And although they have a huge presence in the market right now, each of these products has some flaws. So with Apple Watches and other smart watches, we found out they have to charge at night. And a lot of the students we interviewed didn't like the sleep tracking feature that they had to offer. And for phones, they didn't offer the silent feature that our product has, and they can get pretty expensive. And then for alarm clocks, we looked it up, and there was actually a couple health-related problems, such as increased stress levels and high blood pressure.
And so that brings us to the big question of what makes us unique. By no means is our idea a billion-dollar idea, but to be honest, we don't want it to be. Our competitors try to do everything for you, but what's going to set us apart is that there is a sole focus on sleep, and that is arguably one of the most important features of your life.
As Katie previously stated, our customers are both the parents and the college students. The 3 main channels we will be using to draw attention to our product are Facebook, Instagram, and Amazon. By using Facebook, we are bringing attention to our product to the parents, whereas Instagram addresses the college students.
We currently have accounts on 2 social media platforms, one being Instagram and one being Facebook. This is where we're going to continuously post to bring awareness to our product and gain more followers who could potentially be our customers in the future.
So everyone uses social media, which is why those are our main channels. But we understand that our product is more of an impulse buy, which is why we are planning to have kiosks set up around campuses and to sell our product at the bookstore next year, selling at the bookstore for $13.99 so that our product can stay $19.99 on the shelves. The cost to acquire a customer is $5.43, and we got this number by taking our marketing and advertising costs and then dividing that by the total expected customers. We found the total number of customers by taking the amount of expected watches sold and then multiplying that by a conversion rate of 9.21%. For us and Facebook, conversion rate is when a person purchases a product.
And so that brings us to the retail value and purchase process. Through our research, we found that $19.99 was the highest price point we could go while still maintaining a competitive edge in our market. And as you can tell, our product isn't something that's going to be updated frequently or will need a lot of additional add-ons. So we anticipate the lifetime value of our customer being a one-time purchase. And as previously stated by Rhiannon and Katie, the primary locations will be online and college campus bookstores for those last-minute impulse buys.
So in order to keep our product as affordable as possible, we decided to get most of our materials from wholesale sites such as Alibaba and AliExpress, as well as outsourcing most of our labor overseas. This will help keep our direct costs extremely low. And then for our operating costs, we plan to spend $14,000 a year annually on marketing, a social media presence, and distributing costs for our product.
After talking with some business owners and getting expert opinions, we found that our product will likely cost about $36,000 to prototype, which brings our initial investment to $50,000 along with the $14,000 operating costs.
And so that brings us to break even in year one revenue. Our business model is contingent upon us selling about 2,000 units per month. So in order to even out, we'll have to sell for about 9 months or hit about 18,000 units sold in total. And for the year one revenue, we expect to bring in $500,000. And because of our low direct costs, we expect about 50% gross margin per watch that we make.
And for our future plans, after year one, we plan on reflecting on what made us successful or unsuccessful and taking our intel into designing more specialized watches. After year two, we plan on tailoring our watches to more specific groups, such as ROTC and athletes. This is also when we plan on wholesaling our product through bookstores and kiosks around college campuses. At the end of the day, our ultimate goal is to shift to direct selling through our website.
Thank you.
Yay. All right. Congratulations, Simply Silent. We've got some questions rolling in. I'll take the first one. And again, judges, go ahead and keep the chat rolling in. So the first question is, why a watch? And how does this compare with other wearables beyond, say, smartwatches?
Yeah, so actually we had played around with a few ideas. We decided to look at the market, and some of the big things were rings and other types of jewelry. And as you can see right here, this is just establishing how many people wear a watch when they sleep or how often they're woken up. But from this, we kind of determined that a watch was the best idea for two reasons. One, because there are different types of watches out there right now, so we know that we could create a similar model. But also two, through the surveys that we conducted, we found that watches and bracelets were the most common feature. And as you can see, this is pretty indicative of the fact that people would be willing to wear a watch while they're sleeping.
Cool. So can you guys tell us a little bit more about the unit economics here? What does a sale look like for you beyond just the retail price that a customer pays? Can you tell us about your cost, your margins, those kinds of things?
Yeah. So as you can see, we're getting the majority of our materials from wholesale sites, and it's going to total out to about $10-15 per watch. But because we plan on processing through Amazon for the first few years, they're going to take the majority of that direct cost. And so we were able to determine the gross margin from that, essentially by seeing how much of the profit we would keep. And with that being said, we plan to have Amazon kind of establish us as a product first before we switch to a more independent platform like Olivia mentioned at the end.
So there's a question about your target market. Why college students? Do they have the most urgent need, or are they just the easiest to target? Yeah, so through our research, we found that
This is the easiest group to target because they have very inconsistent schedules. Through some of the research that we found or conducted, we found that people such as married couples are on more similar schedules. So the whole idea between targeting college students was the fact that Colton, for example, is in ROTC and he would have to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, whereas his roommates would not have to wake up until 9 or 10. But because of the drastic difference in the schedule, they would often reap the side effects of him waking up. And so we thought that this would be the easiest group to target because of the fact that there are such drastic scheduling similarities.
So we have some questions about just validation in general. The judges like your survey, but what can you tell us to make us more confident that with all the other possibilities out there, rings that you've talked about, alarm clocks, lots of people have Apple Watches. What other things can you tell us that can help us feel confident that this is a valid idea, that the customer demand really is there?
Okay, so we had actually conducted a survey recently within the past 5 days because we wanted to make sure that the need was there. And so as you can see, the whole point of this is to gauge an interest in college students. And the 66% is the amount of people that are willing to purchase this product and think it's something that they would use. Whereas the 34% is saying, I don't think that this is for me necessarily. But this slide, along with a personal interview from one of Katie's friends, really showed us that there is a need for this. And so we kind of use those pieces of information to continue to guide us on our journey.
So there's a couple of questions about the product itself. There was a question about battery life, but maybe the most important question is, does it work? Like, is it going to vibrate enough to wake me up?
Yeah, so this is actually something else that we had considered when we were creating the product. And through our research, we found that there are vibration chips, and essentially some people indicated that they were heavier sleepers than others. So the whole idea was that you would be able to tailor the vibration technique or vibration strength to your personal preference, because we want to ensure that our product is actually something that can be used in your life and that will be beneficial. So that was kind of our deciding factor, is the vibration strength set to your preference.
And just to follow up the other piece of that question, can you talk about battery life?
Yeah, Katie, do you want to touch on this?
Okay, yeah. So since our product is just like a one-time purchase, it's not like an Apple Watch where you don't necessarily have to charge it, but we expect its life, like the value of this watch will probably last about 4 to 5 years, and then we'll have to innovate it more and everything. But for right now, like our watch is just simple. It's just a vibration strong enough to wake you up. Not as strong as the Pavlok, which is one of our competitors, but it's not something that would have to be charged because it's just, you set it up and then it's ready to go.
Looks like we've got time for one more.
Tell us a little bit more about competition, right? So you have the Apple Watch looming in everybody's mind. Some of us, I have one on. But if I were to go to Amazon and look for this, search for alarm clock watch or vibrating watch or anything that might get me there, what does that field look like, and how do you guys become? How do you get on customers' radar with all that competition? What's that look like?
Yeah, so as we had mentioned, we had decided initially to go the technological route, but upon some feedback, we realized that the market there is pretty taken up by Apple and other big name brands. So we decided to scale our watch completely back, and there's not a basic watch like us out there. And I think that that's what would set us apart, is the fact that this is a simple thing that you can use. Whereas an Apple Watch is meant for something that's going to be more complex. We're honing in on just one aspect of your life. And we think that that's what would draw people to us, is the fact that one, it eliminates noise. And two, if they have an Apple Watch that needs charged at night or something, there's an alternative that's easy for them to use.
Also, to touch on that, some of our competitors that we saw, the design of their product was really bulky or didn't look comfortable, as well as a lot of the watches or products that we saw actually like shocked you. It wasn't like a vibration or a pulse, like it literally was meant to shock you. And a lot of the students we interviewed did not like that at all. So we wanted something that was more comfortable and that could be used by people of any age without having any concern of like harm done to them while they try to sleep.
All right, and that's time. Round of applause for Simply Silent. Good job, guys. Let's move on to Amity. And again, I'll go ahead and start the timer as soon as you guys start talking.
Sorry, just a second.
All right. Hello, all. My team and I are so excited to share with you what we've been working on this semester. My name is Cassidy, and presenting with me today is Nicole, Carly, and Zoe. Now, I want you to close your eyes and take a moment to think back to a close friendship you had with someone when you were a kid. Do you remember how you loved and cared for one another so much and claimed you would be best friends forever? Now open your eyes. To this day, do you have that loyal friend who shares your innermost secrets, laughs, and cries with you, and is there for you no matter what? For many people, the answer is no. So what would you do to have just 1 minute of that feeling back? Meet Amara Maxwell. She was so excited to start her college career and create new friendships. However, because of the pandemic, she was deprived of this experience. Even though she sits in front of her computer every day and is surrounded by people on social media, she still feels completely isolated. Unfortunately, Amara is not the only one going through this experience. All of Gen Z is. We believe that mental health is society's second pandemic. Why? Our team listened to college students nationwide, validated and understood their emotions, and know that, more than ever, young people are actively struggling with mental health issues. We find this unacceptable.
With such a relevant problem for so many college students just like Amara, we want to introduce Amity, a friendship app that lets college students physically meet and connect with others around the globe and relieve their social anxiety by using our adventure-driven program, consequently establishing much stronger mental and social health among today's youth. Our market size shows a promising opportunity for Amity to create a positive impact, as there are 20 million students in the US, with 7 million students left to deal with some form of depression or anxiety. Our ideal customer segment includes college students from the ages of 18 to 25 years old who are going through major life transitions. This generation is blending the physical and digital world as never seen before. These would include remote, transfer, freshmen, international, or even students on break.
So our mission here is to help people like Amara and allow you to discover a community within your community. Through secure geolocation, we plan to connect college students across the nation. Then people will be able to meet and find out who from their college community is close by. Afterwards, Amity sends those connected groups on exciting missions or adventures that are worth a certain amount of points to keep them engaged and give out incentives if 500 points are reached.
Our business works in a subscription-based model. Every month, customers will pay $6.99 in order to be a part of our Amity community. Our app will break the mental health stigma by showing off Amity adventures, new friendships made, and give mental health tips from partnering with psychologists. Most importantly, we want to engage with our community and create a healthy environment for true friendships.
So for business, we plan to actually partner with other small businesses across the country and in return receive really, really great incentives for our Amity community. We have actually received validation from a local business here in Miami, the owner of Bagel and Deli, and he was really eager to collaborate with our app and join us. He actually agreed to give Amity customers a 10% discount for all online or pickup orders through an adventure.
So for channels, we've decided to go through Instagram and TikTok, as both these applications are very youthful based. We found that about 57% of users on both applications are in the age range of 16 to 29, and these users are using it not just for a little bit a day, they're actually using it about 53 minutes every single day. And with TikTok, they're opening the app 8 times a day. And we also found a statistic that said 80% of Instagram users believe that the app has helped them decide to buy a product or a service. And as you can see on the screen, these are both mock-up ads that we would use on both these applications.
All right, so now moving on to your customer value calculation. If we spend roughly 17% of a predicted revenue on our marketing budget, which will be around 1.6 million, we will bring in a total of 103,000 paying customers in the first year through social media channels and marketing strategies. Our total CC will then be around $16. Next, the lifetime value calculation will be based on the estimation that customers will stay with us for 12 months and then also paying the $6.99 monthly fee. This will bring us to a final LTV of roughly $84. And we believe that 12 months is the ideal LTV because through extensive research, we found it takes approximately 200 hours of activity time to become good or best friends, which would equal 1 to 2 Amity missions every week for a year.
All right, so let's take a brief look at the business model. If we can reach a total of 103,000 customers in our first year, we are projecting a revenue of $9.3 million. There are 3 main streams of revenue for this business. First is the pricing model. Each Amity customer will pay $6.99 per month to use our app. Along with this, our company will receive revenue from partnerships with local businesses such as Bagel and Deli. We will also run advertisements on our app to help cover our operating expenses. Our operating costs are employee salaries and direct materials for our employees. Majority of our cost budget is allocated towards cybersecurity for this application. We want to utilize a 2 authentication factor when using our app. This adds up to $3.7 million with an operating margin of 39%. From our customer acquisition models, we calculated that we will break even when a customer has paid for 4 full months of Amity. This should be pretty easily attainable since our average lifetime value of a customer is right around 12 months.
So why Amity? If someone were to choose our competitors such as Bumble BFF or Friender, there's that unknown. They don't know who they're meeting. But with us, there's safety as we have authentication and they are in their community and they're on their campus. Also, we have incentivized-based adventures that are really going to allow those students to make that deep connection, where as if a freshman were to come to campus and they would join a club per se, they're not going to get that deep connection by just sitting in a meeting. Now, if you didn't know, Amity means the creation of close bonds, and we truly believe that this app is going to be very useful beyond the pandemic. Amara was able to find a community within her community and find her best friend, and she's very excited to go back to campus in the fall. We urge you to join our mission of helping college students prosper in their social and mental health. Thank you, and we will now be taking questions.
Great job, like right on the 7-minute mark. It was incredible. I love it up to Q&A. Judges, fill that chat box.
So there's some questions here about your target market. So, why target specifically college students? Why was that your choice, beyond the fact that you are college students? Is this something that could be? Are there other markets out there for Amity?
Absolutely. So we started by targeting college students because currently living in a pandemic, we, just as much as millions of other college students, not just in the US, but around the world, have been kept from being able to go to class and join different organizations, which have kept people from meeting each other. I know personally a big reason I came to college was to branch out and meet new people, and not getting the opportunity to do so through COVID definitely has been difficult. I know I'm a sophomore and Nicole is a freshman and she has yet to be on campus. As far as looking at a different target market, that's definitely something we are interested in expanding to. It's definitely something that we also think could happen. Based on research, we've seen that in the millennial generation, about 1 in every 10 adults don't have a really close or best friend. And we believe that by building these relationships at a younger age, this can actually help that rate as our generation would continue to get older. And it's definitely something that could be done, though, with a different generation.
So there's a couple of questions that all kind of relate back to the actual operational aspects of the missions themselves. So who's curating them? How do they work? How do you ensure safety when they're on these missions? Can you talk more about the operations of the actual mission?
I can take this. So we are planning to have about 10 employees, about 2 in each region, and they'll be planning, the certain mission. So like, for example, Miami, we talked about bagel and deli, and, we also talked about now in this presentation, but, like going to Kofenya or going on a hike at Houston Woods and stuff like that. So that's why we're going to have employees to, base it on those colleges, if they're on college campuses and stuff like that, and just to create those. So that's how those will be operating.
Thank you. So you have a little bit of a chicken and egg problem here, right? So this network is really valuable if there's a lot of people on there that I could connect with, and the right people, right? But I might not join and be one of those valuable people unless I think there's already people there. How do you solve that chicken and egg kind of problem? Getting enough people on that people think it's valuable to be there.
So I can take this one. The reason why we wanted to create this app in the first place is to create true friendships. So we plan to attract people who are in these transitionary periods, maybe on a long college break, maybe international students who are looking for those. And there's a big community out there, as we have seen. And client testimonials have said, we are looking for that community. So we know that there's a demand for that. Also, on the other hand, we know that, yes, it may be a chicken or egg problem, but that's why we have our great marketing strategies. We've actually created an Instagram app prototype where we show mental health tips from partnering with psychologists. And we just want to build a really healthy community where a lot of the social media miss the mark. They don't focus on mental health, whereas Amity, we really do focus on mental health. And as said before, around 37% of Gen Z has been struggling with some form of depression. So we're hoping with our incentive program, as well as our Instagram, as well as the target market that is out there who doesn't have a community, that they can all come in and see that there's an opportunity there and just try it out.
Got time for about one more question. Can you tell us a little bit more about your validation, the research that you've done, the businesses that you've talked to, the potential customers you've talked to, and what you've learned?
Yeah, I can definitely touch on that. So I was actually the one that spoke with the owner of Bagel and Deli, and he was actually very eager to partner with us. He was asking us when this app was going to launch, and I was like, it's just a project, not yet. But that was great validation for our team. And then we've also sent out surveys, and we've also talked to college students across the nation. And like Nicole said, with the client testimonials, Carly, if you want to
Yep.
slide. I'm a very active person, and sitting in front of a computer all day makes me feel alone. So the big thing with Amity is that we want you to get off of our app. So we want you to connect with the person, but then we want you to get out of this digital world that we've all been living in because of the pandemic. And we've gotten a great response on how that could be very beneficial to somebody's mental health.
Okay, last one. Tell us a little bit more, dig into some numbers for us. Tell us about the cost of putting this together. You threw out a pretty big number. What should we know about that, about putting this together and getting it out there in the world?
I can touch on this one as well. So if we want to go to, do you have the revenue and gross margin? Okay, so from the pricing model, I saw another question in the chat about a lower subscription model, but compared to our competitors, Amity only being $6.99 is actually pretty cheap, since our competitors are more like Tinder and Bumble, just because there's not a lot of friendship making apps, and those usually are around $10 to $40 a month. So we thought $6.99 would be a great cost for us. So we would partner with commissions from local businesses. And so I found that the average cost of a bagel is around $10. And so the owner of Bagel and Deli said that he gets around 3,600 customers during the school year, and about half of that during the summer months. So then I just quickly calculated what that revenue would be. Along with that, the pricing model of being $6.99 per month per user, then you get the revenue of $8.6 million. Along with that, we would have ads on our app as well, just to kind of cover the operating costs. So I just calculated the clicks per week, and based off of like customer acquisition, how many people that we can reach on our app. So how many people, like with the foot traffic, how much it would cost for our ads. And so that totals the 9.4. And then if you want to go to the operating costs as well, right there. Yep. So our employee expenses, we're going to have about 10 to 15 employees with an average salary of $80,000. Like Carly said, 2 per region. And then we were trying to touch to an international employee as well, just to get that target market as well. So that brings that to $1.2 million. The cybersecurity, it's going to cost about $5 to $7 per person. I'm sorry, $5 per person for the cybersecurity. And then the direct materials, we wanted to give all of our employees a laptop as well, so that way they can work remotely. So that was about $4,500, which totals an operating cost of $3.7 million.
All right, we're at time. Good job. Applause from everybody. Excellent work. Mac Accessible Clothing, you guys are up next.
Okay. All good? Okay. Hi, we're Mac Accessible, providing accessible clothing for teens dealing with everyday dexterity issues or temporary injuries. To illustrate this, let's meet my friend Grace, a 17-year-old lacrosse player who tore her ACL and was faced with a 9-month recovery period, where she wore that huge brace that you see on the screen for 6 of those 9 months. Our customer segment is composed of 2 main groups of post-surgery recovery patients and autoimmune diseases, which lead to dexterity issues. We will focus mainly on our ACL and post-surgery customers segment for now. Grace and 80,000 other people annually struggle with ACL injuries and everyday dexterity issues. These 80,000 consumers will buy on average 2 options of clothing at $75 a piece. So this results in an annual revenue of $12 million. We have created a pair of pants for people like Grace who want more stylish options of clothing during their recovery time. Our pants offer therapeutic value through some of the main features being heating and cooling pad inserts and tabs on the waistline to assist while pulling up the pants. We also created a unisex shirt, which includes magnet buttons to ease dexterity pains. This would be an example of one accessible product for autoimmune diseases.
Here is Mac Accessible's mood board that displays what we want our brand to encompass in its color story, styles, inspiration, and popular brands that we would look to. Our competition is mainly focused on the accessibility aspect and not so much the fashion, clearly. I know as a college student, I would never be caught dead walking around campus in these clothes. But here at Mac, we hope to fill this void for teens that are looking for a more personalized, stylish, but also therapeutic clothing option.
We have a simple way to acquire our products. Mac will be taking pre-orders from our customers. Since all of our clothes are made in-house, we will then have them be made to order for our customers. This eliminates inventory and SKU issues. Our customers will go to our website near their surgery date to choose features needed for their illness or recovery time, such as heating or cooling pad inserts. Then their order will be delivered closely after their surgery.
To reach our target customers like Grace, we will be implementing 2 marketing strategies. Our first will be making influencer posts. We chose Paula as our influencer. She is an advocate for cerebral palsy and inclusivity on social media. She has 11.7 thousand followers, and we would be doing one $50 post per month with her. We think that she is perfect for reaching our intended audience. We are also planning to hire a professional athlete as our second influencer in the future. Our second will be building relationships with private medical practices and children's hospitals. They will become our middleman marketer, which makes this marketing strategy free. We are planning to become the #1 recommended brand of products that these doctors tell their patients about.
We have priced our shirts at $65 and women and men's pants at $85. We believe our prices are perfect for our intended niche market with in-house making and care. Here's a breakdown of our one transaction. Our one unit sold is comprised of 40% gross margin each for men's and women's pants and $20 gross margin unisex shirt. Our shirt is a smaller portion of our unit with a larger gross margin for that product of around $50, and the women's pants, $37 gross margin, and unisex shirt, $51. We expect our pants to be in higher demand, and therefore we have compensated for this by having a higher gross margin for our shirts.
We plan to hit our break even around the 27th month mark. By this time, we will have sold a little under 90,000 units total. We also intend to have an initial investment of $12,500. Here's a timeline of where you can see that we break even by the 27th month, and we also have a positive slope after that. Our operating costs mainly consist of labor, where we initially have 5 employees, and then every 5 months, we double that number until the 20-month mark. This can be seen through our graph on the next slide. This shows the negative spikes in our operating margin when we double our workforce. The first bar is always the largest due to the machinery needed to support the new employees. By month 21, we begin to recover, and then we plateau at month 23.
To calculate our customer acquisition cost, our per month marketing cost totals $3,950, reaching around 1,417 users, making our customer acquisition cost $2.79. We realize our CAC is low. This is due to our niche marketing tactics and loyalty built with the hospitals. Our lifetime value of a customer is due to an average customer making 2 purchases of a shirt and pair of pants over their lifetime, making our lifetime value $150.
We believe that MAC has 3 unfair advantages. Our first is that we will be getting a patent to protect the special features of our products. Our second is our brand ethics. We are an all-American brand. Since we are an in-house made company, we would have quality control over our products. MAC Accessible takes pride in being a locally sourced and manufactured company, which differentiates us from the existing alternatives in the market. Our third unfair advantage is that we would take the time to approach these medical practices, show them our products, and share our customer stories to emphasize how our products would help their patients improve their everyday life. This strategy would help drastically lower our marketing cost due to the fact that the medical practices would be recommending our products free of cost because of the trusted relationship that we built with them. We want you to come and join MAC Accessible. In the future, we plan to implement a cause marketing strategy where 6% of our profits would be donated to our charity list of research and awareness organizations that help the daily struggles of our customers. In the future, we plan to add another revenue route of making alterations to outside products. This is where customers can send in their clothing to be customized and tailored for their specific needs with MAC's special features. We also hope that MAC Accessible's products will eventually be worn by everyone. And all in all, we want to raise awareness for these individuals affected. MAC Accessible is accessing a special place in the market, and we are capable of changing the norm of what accessible clothing looks like. Thank you so much for listening. We are MAC Accessible Clothing, and we are making fashion more accessible.
All right, thanks very much. There's a number of questions coming up around kind of the hospitals, the feedback you got on the medical side. So can you talk to us about the validation that you've done, maybe generally, but specifically on kind of the healthcare side of things?
I can touch on this one. So we had multiple interviews with Dr. Bresch. So Dr. Bresch is an orthopedic surgeon. He actually is my orthopedic surgeon. I had ACL surgery my sophomore year of high school. And when we were talking to him about our idea of working and making clothes for people that deal with autoimmune disorders and dexterity pains, he said it was a very valid product. Market that is available. But he also said I think it would be really cool if somehow you can tie in more of the sports or even just big surgery injury market as well. Because if you have ways that you can make clothing better and cooler for kids to wear, teens to wear when they're going through these big, awful, life-changing surgeries, I think that would make them feel way more confident and comfortable every day, which is what Mac's main goal is. And then our other goal was to also talk to children's hospitals that deal a lot more with autoimmune diseases, and then also those other big sports injuries that can also happen.
So a slightly different validation question in the same space. What can you tell us about what you've learned about you're very dependent on selling through healthcare channels, right? Using through hospitals, through healthcare providers, that was your customer acquisition strategy. What do you know about how this works with their business model? What can you tell us about their willingness to work with you, the interest on their end? How's that going to work?
Okay, so I also can touch on this one. So how this would work is that we would obviously make our products and we would send some out to customers for obviously our first pre-orders. And then what we would do is we would gather the data from these stories, and then we would approach these other facilities, these private medical practices. So Dr. Brush's orthopedic care is based off of the way that they insure their products. They can recommend products, but they don't benefit anything from it. So he recommended this ice machine to me to use during my recovery, and he made absolutely no profit from it. But that company had approached their practice and said, this is our customer stories. This is how it helps your patients. And this is how much better their recovery is based off of not versus someone who didn't use our product. And that's why Dr. Brush was like, immediately, you want to partner with this company, because I trust that I just want to make my patients recover in the bestest way possible and make them more happy and more comfortable. So that is why we think it would be easier, why we think that this would be able to happen, based off the fact that if we have the backup data, the data to support of the real life stories, that we would build that natural trust of we would actually be helping your patients.
Well, quick follow-up question. So what does that take? What kind of timeline? Assuming that those doctors are interested, or is that something that happens quickly? Does it take months, years? What kind of timeline is there, and how is your company able to handle that kind of sales pipeline?
Hey, Cece.
Yeah, I can talk on this. So we accounted for this in our customer acquisition cost. We have one salary employee that we're starting in our first year. I think it's $3,700 is her salary per month. And that's kind of our time of her going to these hospitals and medical practices and reaching out to them and whether that's taking them to lunch, or we also have that built into our marketing cost of giving these hospitals kind of samples of our products so that they can show them to their customers. So we did build that into our monthly marketing costs.
So there's a big strategic decision you made and there's a question about it. Why did you decide to manufacture in-house, and why not outsourcing, and wouldn't that be a lot cheaper?
I can touch on this. So we began to look at it, and a lot of this just came down to basically the ethics of the company. And when looking at the way international companies outsource and the labor-intensive alternative and kind of the unfair practices that other companies are using when they outsource, we really didn't want to be a company that follows those. So we decided to do in-house making. It kind of began more of just, we're going to start in our basement. Let's do it ourselves. And then we quickly realized that that's kind of unreasonable and stuck with it. And we've decided to do everything in-house because we can also watch the product quality and make sure that all of the products are made to the specifications of what the customers are needing.
So beyond the conversation with the one-on-one conversation with the doctor, which is a great validation. What can you tell us about validation of the target market that you went for, the addressable market size, and who you should and shouldn't be targeting in terms of potential outputs for this, or potential channels for this product?
I can touch on this. So our total addressable market, we found that around 30,000 teens annually have ACL surgeries, and then another 50,000 teens have dexterity issues annually. So then we added those together, made the 80,000 total addressable market for our people. And my friend Grace, whenever I approached her about this product, just like throwing it out there, she was like, oh my God, I would have loved this, because although her surgery did happen in the summer, whenever the winter months did come, she was stuck with wearing baggy sweatpants, and she couldn't even like wear leggings or like jeans because she couldn't fit her big brace over them, and it was painful for her. So as soon as I spoke to her about this idea, she like jumped on it and was like, oh my gosh, this would have been so beneficial to me. I can't even imagine how beneficial it would have been to others.
All right, and we're at time. So congratulations, Mac Clothing. We will move on to Creative Caps.
Okay, good evening, everybody. We are the Creative Caps, a company that inspires creativity in teachers, students, and spaces. So meet Alex. Alex is a middle school student, but she also loves to play and build with Legos, but she grows out of it as she focuses more on her academics. Her teachers drill facts into her head, and her creativity suffers as a result. When she gets into high school, she lacks the problem-solving skills to get into an awesome college and ends up in a desk job. So many of us have seen this before. The rate of creativity is in an unfortunate and dramatic decline. At 5 years old, 98% of those involved in this study scored at the creative genius level. But by the time those same students reached adulthood, that statistic flipped. Only 2% of adults scored as creative geniuses. Why? Because their creativity was educated out of them. However, during our research, we found a Gallup poll that, after surveying approximately 100,000 parents and teachers, states 87% of teachers and 77% of parents agree that teaching approaches that inspire creativity have a bigger payoff for students. So this points to a disconnect between what parents and teachers believe is best for students, which is a desire to teach long-lasting creativity, versus what is actually happening, rote memorization that fades from memory after the school year ends. So what's the problem? Students are being prepared for the problems of today, but what about those of tomorrow? We want to help prepare students for their futures by enhancing creativity and leadership in schools and communities by easily connecting them with creativity consultants, leadership-infused curriculums, and creative space design. So how are we going to do that? With the Creative Caps.
Here at Creative Caps, we are offering a service to address this lack of creativity in the current educational curriculum with an easy-to-adopt solution. We want to engage students by increasing their classroom learning in a creative way while giving them the leadership tools necessary to find their passions at an early age. This will give students a competitive edge, preparing them for college, jobs, and the ambiguity of the future that awaits them. Our solution offers schools and other educational centers with 3 main services: our creative coaches, in-house designer, and easy-to-use makerspace design software. Our creative coach provides educators with the proper tools necessary to build up student engagement in the classroom, with valuable lesson plans that provide access to leadership tools like the LPI assessment and DISC profile, all while placing a huge emphasis on the importance of creativity into the daily lives of students. Our in-house designer helps educators create maker spaces with the resources that they have at their disposal. Our designer works extensively with schools and our partnered interior designer on a project-to-project basis to develop digital maker spaces so that they can see how this addition will fit into their desired location. We'll be partnering with KZF Design out of Cincinnati as they have experience in designing K-12 educational spaces. This partnership allows us to not only have the one-up in getting our clients the best prices from manufacturers, but also to be contract informed. Our easy-to-use design software feature allows schools to actually design their own maker spaces while away from our design team. They're able to choose the furniture that would best fit their aesthetic and personal needs, all while being able to work within their desired budget. Our primary target market is private schools due to them having more finances available in comparison to the other parts of our target market being public schools and libraries. There are about 35,000 private schools within the US with an average tuition of $12,000. Our overall potential market available is so large as we have 82,000 media centers and libraries right at our fingertips. Now that we've heard about our target market, let's hear about our financials.
We can expect to have $20,000 in monthly revenue in our first month, considering our 3 coaches will bring in $6,000 each, our creative designer $4,000, and our software $6,000. We have a total of about $7,600 going out of our business. Our cost of goods sold is $6,400, which is only the creative designer salary and $200 of materials. This is because Liz, Morgan, and I are the creative coaches for the first year of our business, so this is actually money coming in. And the software has no cost since our talented teammate Carissa will create our software. Our operating costs are about $300 and our channel analysis cost is about $650. So we can expect to make a profit of about $12,400 after the first month of being in business. Now, looking 3 years down the road, we will be bringing in $58,000 in revenue a month, considering we will have a 30% growth rate in our 3rd year. In 3 years, we will have about $36,000 going out of our business. The difference between now and 3 years into the future is that we have added a technical analyst to our team for our software, a receptionist for our new office space of 7 employees, and the corresponding office materials. Our cost of goods sold will cost us about $33,000 for our employees and materials, and our operating costs about $1,600, and our channel analysis about $1,500. Finally, what you all have been waiting for, we can expect to make a profit of about $250,000 as income for our business in the 3rd year based off of our projections. So moving forward, we believe that Creative Caps can do more than just education. We value creativity and innovation in all ages and areas of life. We hope to one day move into retirement communities, private residences for redecorating, and workplaces. Now let's talk about the real impact of Creative Caps.
So meet Alex again, or who she could be. In this alternate version of Alex, she is still focused on academics, but this time she's encouraged to use her skills with Legos. She gets to explore this passion and builds her problem-solving skills. In high school, she rocks her standardized tests, gets into the school of her dreams, and lands a job as an architect, all because she was able to build her creative confidence and leadership skills with Creative Caps. So use your imagination one last time. Would you rather let Alex lead an unfulfilling life, or would you give her the chance to make an impact on the world? By teaching creativity, we can attempt to unlock the creative potential of the 98% of the future adult population not currently scoring at the creative genius level. We at Creative Caps believe that more creativity leads to a better future for all, and we hope you agree. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Creative Caps. First question that's coming up from several people is, can you tell us why, how do you make this sale to a school, a group of educators, that your team is the best qualified to help them better educate students? What's your pitch to that? How do you answer that question of why is your expertise? Why you? Are you experts? What's the answer?
Great question. Yeah, I'll take that on. So experts, kind of, we have experience. Experts is a tough term, but we have all experienced a struggle with creativity. Especially myself, I never thought I was creative until I came to college, which is a problem. So the plan right now is to start with us as the creative consultants, because we've all experienced creativity classes before and we've learned a great deal from them. However, in the future, we have made room in our budget to hire more professionals in that field. So as far as reaching these schools, we know it's going to take some convincing. So within our customer acquisition costs and our channel analysis, we've budgeted for reaching out to those people and also the smaller steps that it'll take to get to that point, for sure. I hope that answered that.
Thank you.
So there's several questions here about kind of how you interface with the existing educational ecosystem. So there's questions about, do teachers have to take additional training? How does this complement existing creativity programs in schools? Are there some schools that are already doing these kinds of things? Can you talk a little bit more about how this fits with kind of the creativity ecosystem that's already existing in schools?
Yeah. I can.
Oh, go ahead, Liz.
Sorry. So that's kind of part of the plan. So as far as training for teachers, that's where the creative coaches come in. So that's for the educators, so they can come in and learn about how to unlock the student potential. Yeah, that's a start. Morgan, do you want to keep going?
Yeah, so a lot of schools and teachers that we've talked to are super interested in adopting something like this. They would be able to, with whatever space that they have available, either put it there and like whether it be an additional classroom or they have additional money that they can add on a new classroom, but they are willing to adopt something like this as a addition on to their current school system. So there are some schools that have maker spaces, but they don't have the tools to create it into an entire creativity and leadership curriculum, which is what we would be doing through the tools that we have to offer that we've used here at Miami that have had such an impact on us. And we think that these tools would also just translate so well at an even earlier age that will benefit students and make their parents happy, make the teachers happy, and overall just give them a better educational K-12 experience.
Cool. So there's a question about kind of two numbers about how your customers have to think about this, right? So schools have to figure out how to put budget money, how to put dollars toward outcomes they think matter for students, right? So can you tell us a little bit about the how schools budget for these things and how that appropriation process happens? How do schools get to pay for things like this? And on the other end, what are the outcomes that you guys would affect that would benefit schools? Are they test scores? Are they graduation rates? What are those numbers that schools care about? Can you tell us more about that?
Yes. So I actually had the opportunity to go and visit my old high school, and they had just built out a brand new creative space, but only using a very limited amount of funds, that most of which actually went to furniture and just little things. So after talking to the librarian there, she just sang the praises of grants. Because I mean, schools don't have extra funding at all. And we know that that's a problem. So our plan is to have a grants page that's constantly updated so that they have this option in the future. And hopefully further down the line, we can have a grant writer on staff to help them with these proposals. So as far as the crossing the red tape, as far as actually getting this into schools and getting people to say yes to it, that's where this stuff comes in with promoting the grants. Yeah, you can see on the slides right now, we have some summer programs, discounts and partnerships. That's the plan. And of course, we're gonna have to get creative with our sales pitches too.
Time for one more question. There was some confusion about the actual service itself. Can you get a little more granular? Like your creative coaches, like how long would they spend in the school each week, or how does that work?
So our solution, we offer a catalog of different capabilities. So we have creative coaching. So to start off, we would be going into schools, working closely with an advisor, whether it be a teacher or whoever the school deems they would like to take on that role, work closely with them, educate them on the curriculum, and inform them on ways to build up this maker space. And then throughout that, we would be able to keep in contact with them in the future as well, when we make updates to our curriculum, or if they see a fit for new areas that are addressable in that specific region. And then after that, we would be able, if they are willing to, an in-house designer who helps them build out a makerspace, which allows students to actually get that hands-on creativity through the materials that we would also be connecting them with, whether it be technology, arts supplies, and things of that nature. And then through that, we would also be able to utilize our software, which they can utilize to kind of work out their financial needs and to just see like how the space would actually fit. So they would be able to select the furniture and basically blueprint it out all right in front of them to see it come to life before they actually bring it to their school.
All right. Thank you, guys. That's time. Good job. Big applause. And our final team this evening will be Wildentify.
All right. Can everyone see that? Awesome.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for coming. Today, we would like to share with you Wildentify, the innovative wildlife identification app that provides you with all you need to know about the life you may encounter at the tips of your fingers. My name is Luke, and here with me today is my team Cam, Kanayo, Parks, and Kaylee. Meet Acadia, a 35-year-old teacher living in California near Yosemite National Park. She lives with her husband, 2 kids, and 2 dogs. She loves nature and taking hikes to explore the wildlife-filled trails nearby. Recently, she has been noticing more unique plants and animals and wishes she didn't have to lug around heavy field guides to see what they were. She wishes she had a quick and easy way to cure her curiosity. From hearing the stories of those like Acadia and conducting our own research, we have identified 3 major problems. We found that with the current animal identification methods, people tend to have difficulty having multiple techniques all in one place. Different ID apps use different methods, and field guides are a hassle to carry, which makes something our users want to be quick and easy, often confusing and troublesome. The second problem identified is the trouble with locating animals users are trying to find. We understand that it's not possible to pinpoint where all these different animals are at a given time, yet we are looking to include information on where these animals tend to be seen most often. Lastly, we found that people just want to know general information about plants and animals that they see. More specifically, they are looking for tips and info on what to do in survival situations, as well as fun facts about the species to spark the curiosity and keep the naturalist alive in all of us.
And there are others like Acadia. We conducted many interviews with Miami University professors, such as Dr. Russell in the biology department and Dr. Goswami, a botany professor. We also interviewed people in wildlife-related organizations, such as Miami's Audubon chapter and other outdoor enthusiasts. We conducted a series of social media surveys, and we found that 65% of people are interested in wildlife identification. Through our interviews, people expressed that they wish they were able to identify animals and plants, know what plants are safe to eat, know what to do if they run into a bear, and be able to know if the snake that just bit them was venomous or not. The professors thought that this app would be very useful in many different wildlife fields, such as botany, reptiles and amphibians, bats, and butterflies and moths. Our solution is a wildlife identification app that allows people to identify wildlife in 2 ways, either by taking a picture or filling out descriptors. The app would work through machine learning and AI for photos and pre-programming through association for the descriptors. They'll be able to download specific packs of animals and plants in their region and learn about the different wildlife. Once an animal or plant has been identified, it can be added to their life list or a checklist of all the wildlife they have seen. So let's say you're on a hike and you see this animal walking in the stream. What do? Well, you'll go onto our app and you'll be able to click start. And you know that it's a mammal because it has fur. We're in Oxford, Ohio. It is May 4th. It's about 1 foot long. And it's brown. and it's also swimming in the stream. Now you know that it's an American mink. So our app will be able to give you photos, a brief description about the animal, as well as hotspots on where these animals are commonly found. So our app will be a freemium model. With the free version of our app, our customers will receive one free geographical pack, which will be their state. So for example, if we were to download the app, we will get the Ohio pack, which will contain all the animals and plants in Ohio. So for the majority of our target market, they will be able to go in their backyard or a nearby park and identify, learn about, and enjoy the wildlife around them. For people who love to travel and know that they are going on a trip somewhere else, they'll be able to buy some of our other packs. Any other geographical pack will be 99 cents, and we will also offer regional packs for $4.99 and wildlife packs, which will consist of all the mammals or all the reptiles for $9.99.
For our computer analysis, we looked at two factors: reliability, which is the ability to identify wildlife correctly, and wildlife identification, which is being able to identify different kinds of wildlife. For eBird, you are only able to identify birds, whereas our app has other types of animals as well as plants. For our naturalist, you need a picture, and that picture is identified by other people, but it may take days before you get a result back. Our app allows you to fill in the descriptors and get an automatic response. Search engines are extremely unreliable, especially if you don't already know the species name.
So for the initial investment in our operating costs, it will actually add up to roughly around $64,000. This will be tied up into legal fees and app amortization, so such as functional services, infrastructure services, IT support, and intellectual property protection. For the profitability and break even, we will be breaking even by year 2 and be profitable by year 2 with a profitability of $72,500. This comes from our 612,000 downloads, and with a conversion rate of 9%, it will be 52,400 premium customers.
So by year 3, our cost of goods sold, which is equivalent to our advertising costs, is $73,000. All of our advertising will be done through social media, and our product will be delivered through the App Store, Google Play, and Apple. Our merchandise will also be sold through our website. The cost for acquiring one customer is $7.25 and $9.75 to lifetime value of the customer. A look at Wildentify's future. We hope to get sponsored by companies like National Park Service or World Wildlife Fund so we can continue to grow our app. We also hope to go international with our app so you can identify mammals, insects, whatever from any continent. And we also hope to grow people's appreciation for our natural environment through the use of Wildentify, just like it did for Acadia. We thank you all for your time. We'll open it up to questions now.
All right, good job. So the first question I've got the first question that I read that I think is a good one. Where are you going to get the data? How do you find the information that you need, either for the machine learning data training or for your process of kind of elimination? Where does that come from?
We plan to partner with universities who do research in these areas already, and so they will collect data of the species in their area and identify them, and we can partner with them. And then we can also partner with parks. So national parks do collect all the species of plants and animals in their area. So for me personally, I am doing research on white-throated sparrows with Dr. Russell. And so this is a big ecological project that have people collecting and identifying flying insects, beetles, pollinators in one area. There's someone doing mammals, there's someone doing salamanders. And so we already have these people out there collecting, identifying the animals in the area for ecological purposes. And so then we can just use that data for our app as well.
Can you talk about, first of all, there's a lot of love for your for animals in the chat here, and people who love animals, and also for your MVP. So we liked seeing your app. can you tell us about validation? I think some of these questions are getting at, are people who are really interested in doing this, is what they really need help identifying, or do they need to be doing other things like doing the kind of research you're doing, Kaylee, or sharing this with friends, or is this the right? Is this what I guess the question is about validation, right? Like how do you have validation that this is what is needed in an app like this?
Yeah, we interviewed people who love the outdoors and who travel a lot, as well as, like I said, the Audubon chapter. Audubon mainly focuses on birds. And so when talking to people in that chapter, they were really wanting to learn more and get into more info on other types of animals like insects and mammals. So it's not for people who are doing research like I am, who have a lot of knowledge on the subject. It's for people and who want to go out to a park and they see a cool bird or they see a turtle and they want to know what it is. So it's for just the general population to cure their curiosity and learn more about the animals in their area.
Good. There was just a real quick question. What do you do if you're looking for wildlife in an area where you don't have, cell service? Is it still offline or no?
So I talked with a safety director in the National Park Service, and he mentioned that a lot of the national parks are actually working on including towers in their area, which will allow you to get Wi-Fi. And so that's a long-term project that they're currently working on. Our packs are going to be downloadable, so it'll be similar to Spotify, where you can download the packs and then you can be able to see the animals without Wi-Fi. And then, like I said, it's for the general population who go out in their backyard and they see a cool animal. And so you'll most likely have data and Wi-Fi in those areas.
Can you tell us about just kind of sharpen your pencil a little bit for us on customer acquisition and the costs there? And so we'd like to understand more. A number we think we threw out there was something like 600,000 downloads. Can you tell us, how you get to that number and what the costs are really going to be?
Yeah, so based off of our competitors, we did a lot of our research based off of them. And also our addressable market is 26.6 million. So we figured based off of our competitors again, that we could get 1%. So in our first year, we were thinking that we could get 266,000 customers. And then with a 8% conversion rate, we would get 21,000 customers, premium customers. So by year two, if we get 300,000 downloads, because we will increase in our downloads per year, and also our increase in conversion rate by 1%, we would get like that number 612,000, I believe.
And to build on that, can you talk about the actual channels that you'd use? Like, what are you spending your marketing money on?
Yeah, so we are spending all of our advertising pretty much online using Facebook, Instagram, and Google Ads. We figured since this is an app that using it through using it online mainly and through our partnerships, that would be our best way to go through channeling.
One more quick follow-up. So that $7.25 cost for acquiring customer. How does that compare to, I guess I want to say an industry average? Apps like yours. I'm not familiar with this kind of app as a market. So how does this compare to other companies? Are you doing a lot better or a lot worse? What do companies like yours pay to acquire customers on the App Store?
Our competitors like eBird and iNaturalist are sponsored. So eBird is sponsored by Cornell University and iNaturalist works with National Geographic. But what makes our app different is that we take the descriptors aspect that iNaturalist doesn't have, where you can type in like we showed in the MVP, like whether it's a mammal, how big it is, where you are, and it comes up with a list of possibilities that it could be. And then eBird is strictly birds. They have no mammals, no insects. And so we're hoping in the future to get sponsors similar to eBird and iNaturalist. But starting out, we are going to use the PAC revenue as our main profitability source.
And how much are they paying, or other apps paying to acquire customers?
Do you have a rough idea?
It's roughly, from what I did for research, was about like $5 to $8. So we're in that range. For our competitors, it's a little bit different because they have more ties, I believe. So that price for acquiring the customer would be less, and ours is just going to be slightly above because of that.
All right, well, that is time. I did not get the same warm, fuzzy feeling about the animals when you showed the picture of the possum. I had a nasty run-in with a rabid possum at one point in my life. So I was warm and fuzzy up until that. But good job, guys. Round of applause. Another round of applause for all of our contestants tonight, all of our participants. You guys have done a ton of work, and it's really gratifying to kind of see it all come together. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have.
I'll let me echo that, Chris, and say also shout out there to on Facebook to the other 20 plus teams that participated in this competition that you didn't see tonight. Believe me when I say they applied themselves, did some amazing work, and really brought it. If we had time for all 25 plus to go, I think we would have loved to do that. But great work, and congratulations to all the teams and to our finalists tonight.
Right.
So, yeah, great applause, everyone. So thank you so much. We are finished pitching for tonight. Our judges have some tough work cut out for them. We're going to sign off of our live stream and let them deliberate. We will post the results to Facebook as soon as we have them hot off the press. But congratulations to all the teams. Thank you to all of our judges. Thank you to my best buddy and partner in crime, Professor Chris Sutter. I'm Michael Conger on behalf of everybody here at the Entrepreneurship Institute at Miami University. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.